Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Danielle, the Happy Medium. For those who do not know me, I am Danielle, and in today's or this evening's live stream, we're going to talk a little bit about mediumship, how to develop your mediumship, a little bit more hints and tips that I can give you in connection to your mediumship, and to see how we can take that mediumship to the next level. I've just been over on Facebook there, so hopefully a few of you will come straight over. Hi to Marie, all aboard. Nice to have you here. Thank you very much for joining me, Marie. I hope you're well. Hi to Martina as well. She's also here, one of my admins. And I'll also get another one of my admins. So hold up a minute. There we go. Thank you very much. So I hope is all well. And thank you very much for coming over here and joining me. I've just quickly had my tea. And then obviously I was coming straight back. So I'll be here for maybe about an hour and a half, depending on how long it is that you want to speak to me for, how long you want to talk to me about particular mediumship and these types of things. I don't know. Let me just share this to the Facebook page. So just give me a moment and then I'll be right with you. Sorry, I've got an itchy eye there. I'm going to cry. All right. Hold on. There I go. Well, that's it, we're done. So there we are. So hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Already have shared there. Thank you very much, Louise. I appreciate that. So have we got any questions or anybody who wants to talk a little bit about their questions with regards to mediumship? I know I've covered quite a bit over there on Facebook, but I like to do a one on YouTube from time to time. And whether or not, because I tend to have different people over here, where I have certain people over on Facebook and certain people over here on YouTube. And it's been a while since I did a YouTube channel live, which unfortunately for some reason or other just I haven't been able to get around to it. Can you hear me all right? Because it's a brand new format here on this particular stream. This is something new. I haven't used this one before. It's something completely different for me. So let me know if you can hear me okay. It's not too loud. The lighting's okay. You know, that type of thing. You know, these sort of drills. Things are going to be changed because it's getting dark as well. So I don't know if that's too light. Yes, loud and clear. Oh, really? Get in. I'm going to buy that. Anyway, Marie, you've always got loads of questions for me in class. So come on. Normally you've got loads of questions for me. I'm a mouthful of tea. I've been eating like the salad thing. It's lovely. It was nice actually. The bear made it. Perfect. Really? Is it better on here than it is on Facebook? Okay then. Come on. Because normally you're asking me all sorts of stuff and all sorts of questions with respect to mediumship. She likes to know knowledge. And normally Louise has got a few and all. Tea's gone cold actually with connections to it because it's been downstairs and I've been eating and stuff in it, so I got put on one side, but it's sort of lucky warm. It'll do for now. So let's do a little bit of the sort of normal stuff over here, because obviously I haven't done the same over. I'll do the same one here as what I did on Facebook. So ultimately I talk a little bit about my flexi plan. My flexi plan is an opportunity for those who are in the UK to be able to work 3 or 4 different centres that I have here in the UK, using the mediumship and being able to come along and do a mentorship program for the busy medium who also has the busy life. They pick and choose what days they want to work, what weekends they want to work, and it's a 6-month course. This is an opportunity for those to be able to develop their mediumship at their pace and in their sort of way in which that they feel is right for their development. This is an opportunity to also be able to do it over Zoom, which I've been using Zoom now for some time, with connections to the virtual classrooms that I use in the sky. So it can be done, and it does work very well for my students abroad and also for my students in the States. So if you are interested in these sort of flexi plans and these opportunities to train with me, then please do sort of get in touch with us via the Facebook page, which is Danielle the Happy Medium, and I'll certainly fill you in with a little bit more info and sort of pricing and this type of thing. So Marie's given us a question. So I understand that we're all down here learning, growing and evolving, but what's the bigger picture? What's the end game? What's our spirit ultimately aiming to reach? So ultimately, the biggest game or the biggest learning curve is one for you to learn and understand what it is that you've maybe missed the first time round, whether it be in the spiritual realms or whether it be here to the earth plane. The ultimate goal is to take knowledge back to the spirit world, for the spirit world to continue to keep evolving, growing and learning and altering about the human, about the human's mind, how the humans are progressing down here, if the humans are developing faster or quicker than what the spirit world intended, what other things that the spirit world can learn. Because remember, the spirit world's learning just like we are. For all they're highly intelligent, They never think they're superior enough not to understand something that little bit more, or not be able to learn a little bit more. And remember, spirit can't come down here unless it's housed within the physical body. So therefore, the spirits that are down here, the souls that are down here, are learning and progressing and gaining knowledge, not only for the soul lessons in which that's down here to learn, but also to take knowledge and stuff back to the spirit world. So the ultimate end game is to take knowledge about the spirit world, is ultimately to continue to evolve the energy and continue to evolve and understand how the spirits work down here, how the souls progress down here, how they can maybe do it differently, and ultimately to gain and take knowledge back for the spirit world to continue evolve and grow in that capacity there. So that's ultimately the reasons as to why, Marie, and that's ultimately what we're doing here. I mean, there's multifaceted parts of it. There's many different things, you know, from philosophy to healing. You know, a lot of souls are also down here healing, doing healing work for those who are struggling, because ultimately we are all energy and we can all be healed through energy work, whether it be Reiki, whether it be spiritual healing, whichever you choose to take. The only difference between spiritual healing and Reiki healing is when we do spiritual healing, we allow the spirit to put the energy where they feel it's beneficial. Reiki is where the actual human is directing it where they think it should be. Me personally, I like spiritual healing more than I do Reiki, but both are beneficial in whatever way that you feel your healing needs to be. But ultimately, a lot of us are down here, the souls or the humans that are down here are, you know, struggling in some capacity. So a lot of souls are down here healing, working with the souls in order to keep them progressing, keep them moving forward, so they're learning the lessons in which that they need to learn. Because ultimately, if they don't learn the lessons, they've either gone down back to the spirit world and learn a bit more up there, or they've got to come back again, which is reincarnation, and therefore they have to learn a bit more in them ways. So that's the ultimate goal, Marie, really, is to gain knowledge, understanding, and clarity on certain elements that maybe the spirit world feels it needs more information on, because they don't know everything. They know vast amount, but they don't know everything, and they would never ever progress to say that they knew everything, because they understand that there's always a possibility of learning something new in a new way. And as humans are evolving, as technologies are evolving, is we're moving forward in every way. The spirit world are obviously trying to catch up. They're wanting to understand that more. They want to understand how the human race is interacting with each other, and in which ways are they interacting. Because ultimately, you know, a lot of the spirits that are in the spiritual world don't understand or haven't got a great deal of the knowledge or the understanding of the electronical system that we're using down here, the internet, you know, this sort of more freer world in which that we live in. You know what I mean? If you go back 100 years, there was no such thing as the internet. There was no such thing as, you know, mobile phones. There was no such thing as electric cars. You know, the human world is moving at an incredible pace. We are fundamentally, you know, moving in such a rate that the spirit world continuously gain that knowledge, understand that knowledge, and get to know about how it is that we're evolving as humans down here, with the knowledge of the mediums who are talking to the guides. The guides are then going back to the spirit world and relaying that information back as well. But ultimately, the souls who are coming back and who have also been down here and experienced it can then talk about it as well from their perspective. Because remember, every soul sees it differently. Every soul sees it from a different viewpoint. So the spirit world's always interested to see everybody's viewpoint, to see how it is that each soul sees things differently. Thanks. So what about when humans no longer exist? What will we all do back home? Is there's in the spirit world? Right. So there's lots of different things that you can do in the spirit world. So in the spirit world, you can become a guide if you choose to. You can choose not to do anything. You'll just sort of watch. You'll move around. You'll just sort of, you know, just sort of exist. I suppose as energy is the best way I can put it. What will then happen is when that soul decides that it wants to sort of progress, or wants to learn, or wants to evolve, then it can choose a particular task it wants to do. So it may want to be a guide, it may want to be reincarnated and come back, it may want to look after all the children or some of the children in the spirit world, it may work within the soul groups in order to advance that soul group that little bit further, so that soul group is encouraging another soul within that group to move forward. Because ultimately some have more knowledge than others. So ultimately every bit of knowledge is always important. Everybody has different tasks. Some are looking after the animal kingdom. We've got thousands upon thousands of animals up there in the spiritual world. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Nice to see you all here. So everybody's sort of doing a particular task. Some people are just helpers. You know what I mean? There's guides, then we also have helpers who are working alongside us, but I don't always know who they are. And like I said yesterday on a live stream, I think what you have to remember here is, hi again, hi everybody, nice to see you all here. What we have to remember is that ultimately each team is housing around about 2 to 3 guides. That's about a normal standard team. Some have a few more, some have a few less, some only have one. But most spiritual teams that I've seen have got normally 2 to 3 guides in them. And obviously you've got to remember, if we've got what, a million mediums all working, then therefore we need at least 2 to 3 guides for every medium. Then you've got 5 or 6 helpers all working alongside them mediums, helping the teams that are helping the medium. Because remember, there's not just the guide, there's then the teams behind the guides who have more experience, who are actually encouraging that guide who's working with your mind. Because remember, guides are progressing and learning and evolving, because what we have to understand here is that as we progress, the mediumship's progressing, and as the mediumship progressing, as is the mind. We also have the influence now of drugs. We also have the influence of a major sort of mental health problem that we have here to the earth, and the spirit world are constantly having to adjust and attune to that in order to continue to keep doing communications from the spiritual realms. So they're constantly looking to evolve, or looking to gain more knowledge or more understanding, not only from the guides, but also from the guides' teams, the helpers. So each medium could have anything up to 10 people working with them at one particular time. Just the medium doesn't know that. We've got thousands, millions of children over there who are all progressing, all working, all learning in some capacity, whether they were lost on a miscarriage, whether they were lost on a termination, whether they were lost when they were stillborn, whatever capacity that may be. We have to understand that each and every one of them children are all learning. You have to remember as well, there isn't a lot of knowledge in them, because ultimately they haven't been on the earth plane, so therefore they haven't been able to experience knowledge or understanding in here. So they're learning and progressing in the spirit world. And a bit like, I suppose, like down here on the earth plane, when we have children in school, you know, we move children from class to class to class. And the spirit world is very much the same. We have some who will be in the infants, or we'll have them, you know, in the baby classes, and then eventually they progress on to being juniors, and then progress on to being, you know, seniors. And they've all got to be taught and learn and gain knowledge, and they do that by watching the mediums, or they do that by watching other guides in the spirit world. Or, you know, for example, the other week, in fact, it wasn't the other week, it was just last week, there was a guide approached me and said, well, it wasn't Chief approached me. Chief said it was, look, Danielle, there's a guide out the back. And I went, right, what's the matter? And he said, I says, you know, what they're doing there, is there is a particular reason, you know, what's the crack type of thing? And he said it was, well, this guide's fresh out of the guide school. I says, right, oh, fair enough. I've worked with guides who have just come out of guide school. I've got no problem in that. And he's looking to gain experience. I says, right, oh, fair enough. I says, how long we're expecting this guy to stay? You know, what kind of skill set has he got? You know, all these, I mean, I ask all them sort of, you know, connections, if that makes sense. And he said to us, well, he says he's fresh out. He hasn't worked with any other mediums. And he was just wondering if he could maybe sort of work alongside myself and you and gain a little bit of knowledge, and then he would like to move on. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Because what we have to understand is that every guide has to understand how a medium's mind works. They have to gain knowledge. They have to gain understanding, so that they can then progress forward and work with other mediums and their other minds. Even if they're not actually getting involved in the communication, what they will do is watch over or oversee that communication, so that they understand it, so they think, right, when they move on, I can take that knowledge that I've gained there and apply that in another medium or another team or another group or whatever it may be. So that's a lot of what goes on in the spiritual realms, and a lot of, you know, different scenarios, you know, got multifaceted. It's like people say, well, one guide does every job. And yes, I do agree with that, but we will always have one particular guide. Now, I tend to call them doorkeepers, gatekeepers, whatever it may be. And I'm a great believer of the guides and stuff that I've worked with, and the understanding and knowledge that I've gained through the spirit world, that many guides, what they do is they take advanced classes in certain areas. So certain doorkeepers will be able to do multifaceted tasks, which is main guides, healing, philosophy, can just about do everything and anything, if that makes sense. Then we have others who aren't as limited, or choose not to want to take that particular position. It's a bit like down here. Some people want to be a manager, some people don't. It just depends. And it's the same in the spirit world. A guide will not do a job if they choose to not want to do that job. They may just want to be that main guide. So therefore, we have to understand that there's many teachers in the spirit world who are teaching these guides to do these specific jobs in which it is that they've asked to do in the spiritual realms. So I hope that's what answers the question a little bit. But right, let's have a look. How is a new soul created? Right, well, obviously you've got your understanding of the physical anatomy. What you have to remember here is physical anatomy is all chemical based. Everybody thinks that spiritual, like physical connections or marriages or partnerships are a physical thing. So it's what you look like, what that person is doing for you, how that person makes you feel, you know, these types of things. What they fail to see is the energy exchange that goes on between them, between the two parties. What they don't see is the spiritual connection, or what they don't see is the energy connection. And most people will always take the physical elements over the spiritual elements, because the physical they can see, so it's how pretty that person is, do they make them laugh, you know, these types of things. What they don't see is the spiritual side and the opportunity to, and how's that spiritual soul to grow, because not all relationships are about you know, holidays, cars, you know, these types of things. It's about growth of the individual, or how much that person will grow with you being with them. And a lot of people will reject people because it's too tough. They don't like it. They'd rather take the easy option. But when it comes to oh, look, man, girls. When it comes to when it comes to, sorry about that, when it comes to creating souls, what you have to remember is if we use a physical anatomy, so we have obviously the egg from the female, the sperm from the male. When them two come together, it's a chemical reaction. So it's an opportunity. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. It is an opportunity for them. And what happens is they start to multiply. So there's a chemical reaction, there's an energy reaction, there's a neuroscience reaction. The nucleus collides with the egg, collides with the sperm, right? Which then sets off a chemical reaction, which then makes the cells start to divide, which then becomes energy, which then makes it grow, and then it embeds in the woman's body, which then feeds off the nutrients, which is the energy, which then the baby grows. So that is how it's done. It's always done through energy. And if you think about it, every baby is already thought about before that baby comes to the earth plane. Most of us will have thought about wanting to become pregnant, or will have thought about starting a family, or whatever it may be, whether it was 20 years ago or whether it was just yesterday. Does that make sense? It's that thought-related matter that's already out there. And what happens is, when divine timing is right, all the ingredients come together, and them two people come together, and that baby is created. But years prior to that, that baby was already thought about and already made in the spiritual world. That's how it's done. Also, because of the fact that we also have elements of our soul in here, when we're creating that child, elements of our soul will go into the creation of, which is the egg and the sperm, and of dad as well, which then and then also elements of what we call downloads or DNA strands, which ultimately hold chemical balances or energy or information in them. It's kind of clued up, actually. Like, I love it, mate. But I love science. Do you know what I mean? I got a B in science at school. I love science. I've always loved science. I love the idea of it. I love I love nature. I love the fact of like how plants, like photosynthesis and all that. I love how pretty complicated and clever, yeah. But they've been able to tune it so well that that's how it works. It's so smart. It's really, really, really clever how they've designed it, and everything is energy based. And people don't understand this. People think that it's just a physical body, but it's not. It's energy. We don't actually connect first on what some person looks at. We actually connect on the energy level first, but we don't realize the energy until we've looked at the person. But really, it's energy that's connected you first, and then the look. But everybody thinks it's the looks, but it's not. It's like, you know, when you go into somebody's energy space, there could be the bunniest person in the world, but if you get a bad feeling off them, you'll move away from them. It's the energy. It's not what they look like. It's the energy of the person that you're interested in. It's what makes you feel all sort of like giddy and that. It's the energy exchange. And then the looks is just a bonus, you know what I mean? It's half the battle if they're good looking and out like I'm with us. You know what I mean? It's half the battle. But it's energy really first that you look at. It's the connection. True, yeah. You could be the stunningest looking thing in this world, but it's no good if you're not, yeah, if the energy exchange isn't there. It's no good if the energy isn't blending. It's no good if the energy is not working. Hi, Alan. Hi, sweetie. Are you all right? It's nice to see you. Thank you very much for your lovely review. I really do appreciate it. You got any questions for me, Alan? Because I know you had lots for me when I was up there in Aberdeen. So maybe you've got some for me here. But yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell, Maria. That's how it sort of goes. There's probably a bit more complication and a bit more like jargon to it. But in all honesty, as long as I understand the basics, I don't really need to understand anything more, because anything more would probably start blowing people's minds, and we're not actually degree holders in, neuroscience and biology and, the facts of life. And as long as you understand the small concepts of it and understand the understanding of it's not just the fact of the physical act, it's the energy act that also comes. Also, you have to remember as well, when you're having sex, it doesn't just come from a physical beat. Remember, where it's a feeling sensation, but we're also activating the chakra system. And normally we're activating the lower three chakras, so the solar plexus, the sacral chakra, and also the root chakra. And then the heart center as well, because obviously it all comes from a place of love. Or the majority of it does. And most sex we have, it normally comes from a place of feeling. I like to think it does anyway. Depending on what they're feeling for. Some people do it because they're genuinely making love. Some people are doing it because they just want to get the rocks off. Some people do it because they're not very happy in certain situations that they are. There's many multifaceted, so we have to think about that element of the thought-based matter of where your mind is at that time when you're doing that particular act as well, because that also comes into it as well. And also the energy system and how that energy system is reacting, because that all comes into it as well. People don't say that. People don't say that it's an energy act, and what energy we share with people ultimately either becomes. What we can do is do spiritual bonding, and spiritual bonding is something. It's just a light. Spiritual bonding can be where you can bond with somebody through a spiritual, sexual act, through exchanging of energy, and be tied to that person for forever. Because that energy connection is there. That energy, unless the energy connection is cut off. If one side of the connection holds on and the other energy still doesn't hold on, that connection will still be. It's only when the two parties decide completely to walk away does that energy connection actually become null and void. But the connection never, ever, ever, ever goes away, because energy can't be destroyed. All it will change is from where it was very passionate, very loving, very honest, very whatever, to very bitter, very not very nice, etc., etc., etc. But the energy exchange between the people that you sleep with will always be there. No matter which way, whether it turns out to be good or bad, that exchange will always be there. That experience will always be with you, no matter what you do. And you've got to be careful who you're sharing your energy space with when you're getting into bed with people. Because you've got to remember that when you blend two sets of energy together, one's positive, one's negative, they always take on an element of them, always, no matter what you do. And people don't say that side of it when you're doing like sex and stuff like that. People don't say that. They just say it as the physical act, but actually there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. And we could like look at tandem sex and stuff like that. With tandem sex is an opportunity to sort of do sex, but without actually even touching the physical body. It's all energy-based matter, which can be done through moving energy around. If you understand the chakra system good enough and you understand energy good enough, it's easy enough done. Easy enough done without even touching a physical body. It's all done through the mind and through using and working the energy system in order to get that person where it is that you want them to be. And if it's done in the right capacity and for the right reasons, it can be just as good as experience as the physical act itself. Kind of mind-blowing, actually, isn't it? Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. It's nice to see you all here. Hopefully got some questions for me, folks. It's nice to see you all. I like this streaming, Alex. Loads better. Loads better than that one that I was faffing on with there a couple of weeks ago. It had me absolutely demented. It did. Now I was coming or going with it. Please do share this video around if you get an opportunity to, folks. I'd be really, really grateful to you. So any other questions while I'm here? Hi to Sunshine. Hello, Sunshine. I hope you're all right. Even my buddies called me that when I was a kid. Sunshine. I hope you're well there, Sunshine. I hope you're keeping okay. So any other questions for me? Thank you very much to Marie's questions. They were cracking questions. Hope you understand them a little bit more. You sort of get that. Thank you very much to my admin staff as well for being here. It's a pleasure. So yeah, any other questions? I'll be really, really interested. My muffle is tea. Just breathing that now. Proper breathing. Marie's thinking. Well, okay. Anybody else got some questions? He's all sort of sitting there. I think a few of you are typing. What is the best advice you can give to help our development? The best thing that I can give, Cheryl, your development is practice. Practice, trust, and believe in all that is given to you from the spirit world. As long as, remember, always remember, as long as you've moved your mind and you keep your mind hi, everybody who's just saying hi. As long as you move your mind, right, to make sure it's in the spirit world and it stays in the spirit world, then I'm just having a look. Then that will always be the best thing for your development. Trust, practice, and making sure you keep your mind in the spirit world and not on the earth world. Because what I tend to see too much of is mediums jumping backwards and forwards. So they've got the mind in the spirit world, then they're coming out the spirit world and going out on the psychic link, then coming back in on the psychic link and going back up into the spirit world. And it's just they're like running. It's like a railway track. It's like up and down. So 1 minute the psychic, 1 minute the mediumship, 1 minute the psychic, 1 minute the mediumship. Where instead of learning to keep their mind with the communicator and practice, trust, your own development will get you that. Over time, that is what will get you, and getting the nose, because the nose is going to make you stay in the spirit world, because you will want to get it right. Does that make sense? So you'll want to understand it a bit more. So I hope that helped you for a little bit there with connections to that. Unfortunately, Sunshine, I cannot answer that question. I couldn't, honestly. I don't predict. I'm an evidential medium, sweetheart. So unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to answer. But I wish you the very best of luck there with that one. Why do I miss someone more around? Why do we miss someone more around their anniversary? That is a human thing. So when we get to birthdays, anniversaries, Christmases, these types of things, our long-term memory will start to want to recall stuff, or we will want to start and think about people, because we will want to start and wonder how they are, and we will also look over our life and see where our life is going and how much we've done since that person has gone over to the spiritual realms. Also, it's an opportunity to put your thoughts out there to allow them to draw forward, so that they will connect with you and allow that sort of opportunity to maybe bring the two worlds together again. But that's what it normally is, because of the fact that we will want to take our minds back to the past. We will want to take our minds back to the memories in which that we once shared with that person. We will want to take our minds back in order so that we can just remember the good times and remember that they're not there and that we are thinking of them in the spiritual realm. So I hope that it's an emotion, Martina. It's an emotion of us thinking about them, or just wanting to be close to them because they're not here with us. So I hope that answers the question a little bit. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Do you think spirit guides are working with souls on other planets too? Why not? Do you know what I mean? It would be stupid of us to think here and now, in this day and age, that we're the only sort of light being here. In fact, I think it would actually be quite stupid of us to think that we're the only, intelligence kicking a boot out there. You know what I mean? That solar system's a big old place, and some of it can't even access because it's so far away. Multifaceted dimensions with multifaceted black holes in, with multifaceted stars in it, with multifaceted multi-ways of multifaceted dimensions. That it would be silly of me to think, and I think it'd be silly of anybody to think that we're the only intelligent life being. In fact, I would think you're being a bit ignorant and to think them things. Me personally, right, I personally don't I personally think that, yeah, there will always be other light beings, and I think there'll always be an opportunity for us to be able to learn, Marie, from other life sources. Why we haven't had phenomena. Do you honestly think, and this is a big thing I have with the spirit world, do you honestly think that we would ever find the spirit world? As much as we see the spirit world in the way in which mental mediums, physical mediumships, all these types of things go on, I have to ask the question of, could we can't take care of the earth world in which that we have here to the earth. We destroy it. We're destroying the animal kingdom. We're destroying the world at large in which that we live in. So the spirit world, there's no way the spirit world's going to trust us with something that we're unable to take care of. We can't take care of what they've already given us. So why are they going to give us something that we can't take care of now? And I think it's the same sort of with other intelligences. I would assume that they're a lot more advanced, a bit like the spiritual world, or they have more intelligence, if this makes sense. And again, why would they want to come to this earth, or even be made aware to this earth, for the simple fact that we couldn't look after it and we would want to destroy it? It would just become like a massive sort of it would just become massive. People would just destroy it because we can't even look after the animals and stuff we've got down here. We can't. So why would they give us anything that we can't take care of? We're yet to prove to the spirit world or to other life beings or other dimensions that we're capable of looking after what we have here, which was given to us. We can't even look after that. We're destroying the planet in which we live. This ozone layer is destroying. The ice caps are melting. You know, I'm not like trying to be a Debbie Downer here. It's the truth. We can't take care of what we have. So I can't say why they're going to give us anything else. Cheryl saying, keep my mind focused is the main thing I struggle. The best thing to do is try not to put too much focus to that. Because the more you're putting your focus to, my mind's not focused, the more your mind's going to think that. The best thing to do, Cheryl, is to say, I'm in control, my mind is free, my mind is limitless, I'm in control of my mediumship, I'm disciplined with my mediumship, and my mediumship's moving forward, and my guides are going to take me wherever I need to be. Try to stay away from not putting you're putting too much focus on that. You want that focus. You got to remember that again comes with development. It doesn't come overnight. It takes, you know, months and years to develop that development and develop that discipline. And me personally, it took me a long time to develop that discipline, but it is on its way and it's become a lot better, I would say, in the last 6 months to 8 months. In fact, probably in the last year, my discipline has become a lot stronger, a lot cleverer, a lot more. Got it. Anna, my team's got my back. Anna, there's no issues or problems there. And I now nobody can even remotely get anywhere near me. And as far as I'm concerned, that's enough for me. But again, that's part of your development and a part of your trust and part of you going down that road, you know. And I can't stress this enough to people. People seem to think that unfortunately, because of the fact that they say, you know, the mediums who seem to have it all wrapped up, or they've got it in the bag, or they've got this in the bag, or they've got that in the bag. I bet you, right, and this is just a wild stab in the dark, but I bet I'm not far off the mark here, right? I bet that most mediums out there have got some issue somewhere in some way, shape, or form, either in the ability or whether in the fact that they don't completely trust or whatever it may be. There'll be something that's triggering them off because they're a human. There'll be something somewhere that's triggering them off. And what we don't talk enough about in the industry is them types of things. We're talking about fixing mediums. We're giving many mechanics and all of this, and I've got any problem with that. I'm grateful that the knowledge is out there. But what we don't talk about is the things that really do bother mediums, which is the lack of trust, or the lack of, you know, everybody looks as if they've got it all wired up and they've got their mediumship in the bag and all of this, when really, if everybody really spoke the truth, most mediums are struggling in some capacity, in every way, shape and form. Just nobody talks about that because everybody's wanting everybody to deliver on, you know, the top names, the top addresses, the top storytelling medium. Everybody's wanting to sort of, you know, nobody wants to talk about them things. They just want to talk about the good things. They want to talk about the bad things. Nobody talks about the backstabbing that goes on in mediumship. Nobody talks about none of that. Nobody talks about the slating and all them types of things that go on. No, we didn't talk about them things. We didn't talk about how the mediums pull other mediums doing. We didn't talk about none of that because that's you're not allowed to talk about them things. It's against the rules. And you know, there's lots I could say, but I choose not to. I can't, because you're then looked out to be like you're just a crazy lady, when really you're not. And nobody talks about them things, and that's what I think really does need to be talked about in mediumship massively. But you know, what I think and what other people think is always two different things, and it's always my perception. But me personally, we ain't talking enough about them types of things. We're not talking about how mediums are struggling in the industry, how the pressure on mediums in to conform is massive, and it ain't enough time for you to develop now. It's not enough time. There's too much pressure on you. It's you to get up there and start delivering messages and, you know, and pushing you to the brink where you're exhausted, and that is going on as well. I've seen that going on and now. And now a lot of mediums are pulling back. They're pulling back out of the mediumship movement because they just can't do it anymore. They can't hack the constant sniping and the digging and the people who tell them they're not doing it right or whatever it may be. Or we've got them who are just constantly worn out because they're a good medium, and then they're just they're wanting to be demonstrating everywhere and anywhere, or everybody's wanting them to demonstrate everywhere and anywhere. But yet we don't want to pay them for the time. That's another thing that's a big issue, money in the movement. That's another thing that everybody whines about now. And who's training who and who's vouching for who and all this type of malarkey. And we forgot that really mediumship isn't about people vouching for anybody. We're all unique and individual, and we're all doing the best we can with what we've got. But unfortunately, people don't start pulling things. So let's have a look at some of the questions, but stay away from the focus. Just be you. Just be you. Try not to panic too much. Just let it do its thing. Speak to your guides. Tell them your worries. Tell them what you're worried about. Talk to them about why it is that you feel as if you're not disciplined enough with your mind. Ask them to help you with them things. Honestly, Cheryl, you will. I guarantee you. You'll come back to me in 3 months and go, you'll never guess what's happened, Danielle. Like on WhatsApp, you'll come, well, I went away and did what you said, and this happened and that happened. Try it. Honestly, try it. All right. Met one of my guides. His name's Alex. Didn't know his name, but have decided to call him Dave. Okay, no bother. Now I speak to Dave on a daily basis. Seems we're the first broke here now. Yeah, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's how relationships are built with guys. People talk to me all the time about, ooh, how do you build a relationship with a guy? And it's the same way, and it's the same way as how you build a relationship with a communicator. So communicators are loved ones to me and you. So me and you, you're not loved ones when we're talking to the spirit world, right? The best way to build the relationship is build the relationship with the guide first, because you'll get used to it, so it doesn't feel as awkward. Does that make sense? So the best thing to do is find the guides, talk to the guides, then you talk to the guides, and then you talk to the communicators that you talk to the guide. So when I can to Chief, I talk to Chief like I'm talking to me, yeah. But obviously, like I have to like knock the lingo off a bit, right? Because I'm quite broad, I have to slow down a little bit for Chief, a little bit. And then sometimes when I can, and then I get myself all excited, and I say, "Oh, just slow down." I just say, "Slow down." And I go, "Oh, Chief, you'll never guess what's happening." And he'll go, "I know." And I'll go, "How did you know?" He says, "I get to know most things." That's what he says to us, right? This is a running commentary of me and Chief, right, on a day-to-day basis. Chief, are you there? Yes. Chief, I have to talk to you about this. Now, if I'm excitable and if there's something exciting coming in, my speed picks up, right? Because I get myself all excited like a big kid, right? And I go, "You'll never guess what's happened, Chief." And they go, "I know." And then like he talks, it is a lot slower than me, right? And I'll go, "Chief, what do we do about this and what do we do about that?" And I'll go, "Chief, you know, I'm really worried about this. You know, I don't think this is going to come off." And I'll go, "Chief, you know, I'm really worried about like, you know, these things that are going on, and I don't know how to address them, and I don't know what to do about them." And he'll either give us the ideas, or he'll sort of try and sort of give us advice on how I should approach certain things. Do I always take that advice? No. 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 But that's me, you know what I mean? I'm terrible for it. I'm terrible for it, right? But what I'm trying to show you is that I've built that relationship with talking to Chief like I'm talking to another person. And a lot of people think they're a bit weird, right? Because they're talking to fresh air and they're talking to like in the mind, and they think they're going to be crackers. But you're not going crackers at all. You're just talking. And what you have to get used to is that's why the guides are there. You have to get used to that, so that when you do the communication from the spirit world, you're talking to them exactly the same way. It's like, for example, like when my best friend Natalie comes. "All right, Natalie. Aye, where you been?" "Oh, I've had the bed, the doctors, I've been here, done that, done this, done the other," right? Now that's one statement. So imagine this, right? Imagine this is a conversation. Natalie is the spirit person, the loved one, and I'm the medium, right? And the name of the spirit communicator is Natalie, right? So when the communicator comes forward and I know that they feel them or I see them or whatever, I'll go, "How are you? What have you done? Or what is it that you want to talk to me about?" And then they go, "Oh, well, before I died, I was in hospital and, you know, I had COPD and this, that, and the other." And then there you go. And it's the same as when I talk to my friend Natalie. "Hi, Natalie, what have you been doing?" "Well, I've had Ben in the hospital down there because Ben's got cerebral palsy, you know, X, Y, and Z." And I'll go, "All right, then how did that go? What did they say?" X, Y, and Z. And then I'll say to this fella or this woman who's with us, when they've told me the story about the thing, I'll go, is there anything else you want to talk about? You know, is there anything important that you feel is important for your loved ones here? And then they just start talking to you. And the problem is you just don't get what you get. You're like thinking there's some sort of magic to it, and there's not. That it's as simple as that. It's that easy, you know. You think there's some the Buddha mediums, and I think there's like some sort of like, I don't know, magic to it. There's not. There's not. It's so simple. It's like just having a convo, like you having a conversation with me. He's asking me loads of questions, and I'm giving you the answers. And that's exactly how it goes in the spirit world. Just be careful with the questions. All you gotta say is hiya. You know what I mean? Sometimes they'll come to and they know my name, man. I link, like I'm already in the spirit world, and if one communicator's pulling away, I'm looking for the next one, right? I'll be mind searching for that next communication, right? And then all of a sudden I'll see him, and I'll go, hiya, Danielle. And I'll go, hiya, you all right? And I'll go, right, what's the crack? What are you looking for? What you doing here? Can you help me out? And straight away they're like, oh, I want to be over here with my daughter, and you know, I'm a dad, and you know, tell her I'm there with her. And I'll say, well, come on, I need a bit more from you than that. That's a bit generalized, it's a bit weak. And then you go, all right, okay then, and they start giving you like all sorts of stuff. It's that easy. And people are like, oh, Danielle, I don't know how to do it. I've been watching this one, that one, the other one. I've been doing this, doing that, doing the other. And it's so simple. And I'm trying to get that over to people. You ain't going to make this complicated, folks. You ain't going to make it hard. You just got to treat them like the normal people, even though I know it's hard for you is because it's the energy, but just treat them like they were your best pal. You know, like when I do service, I'll say to the congregation, I'll say to my lot in the spirit world, right, we're going to be best friends for the next hour and a half, because that's what they become. They'll become my best friends for the next hour and a half, because that's exactly how I treat them. They're like my pals, they're like my mates. Like meeting a new friend, you know, when you're not out on the drink, and you start talking and you end up being best pals by the end of the night, you know what I mean? And then you get home the next day, and the drink wears off, and you're like, I don't think I'll see them again. You know what I mean? A bit like that. And that's how you do it. And that's the magic to it. That's the easiness to it. There ain't any sort of excitement to it. Do you know what I mean? I see so many people trying to tell people it's like, you must do this and you must do that. You must try this and you must try that. And no, you must do it this way. You must do it. No, it's simple. And learning to just get used to talking to the guides, which then gets you used to talking to communicators, which then gets you into the development classes, which then gets you into residential courses in your workshop, which then gets you into your training ground. And then all you do is you just keep development, and then you're sitting on a regular basis, not only self-development, but also developing with your guides. That easy. Honestly, it's that easy, but people are like, it can't be that easy. Oh, but it is that easy. Anyway, let's have a look. Let's have a look and see. Let's have a look. Sorry, I've missed some of your questions. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Please do share this video around. I'm really, really grateful. When I met it, right? Exactly. We all have issues. Do you like that, sunshine? I like that now. We've all got issues. The only problem is nobody's talking about it. Nobody. We're like, oh, it's all love and light, you know. Oh, we're all best of buds. No, we're not. No, we're not all. Most mediums hate other mediums. They're all frightened about what other ones got. Honestly, you've got no idea. No idea at all. Anyway, right, let's have a look. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. I've missed a couple of minutes. I've started to use my own way of doing me and find it work. Yeah, it'll work for you, because the minute you try to implement somebody else's mediumship into yours, it'll end up getting taken out, because ultimately it won't work for you, or it'll not work in some capacity, which ultimately then you have a real issue with, because there's all right taking hints and tips, but if you're trying to add somebody else's mediumship into your mediumship, it'll jam with yours, and eventually that'll have to come out, because yours is yours. It'll always be yours. Nobody can change your mediumship. Nobody can take it from you. It's yours, and it'll always be yours. And if you learn to embrace it, it's where people say to me, "Oh, well, how do you get to be unique, Danielle? How do you get to do this? How do you get to do that, Danielle?" Easy. You be yourself. You be yourself. You take your mediumship, you develop it your way, and you do it your way, and you bring that laughter in. You do bring that evidence. Watch how you're pronouncing it, watch how you're wording it. Make sure that you're not questioning the sitters. Sort of keep a bit of the sort of tact in there. Present yourself well on a roster. Make sure you dress well. Not too much makeup, not too much like perfume after shave, but always dress appropriately. You know what I mean? You've got to keep a couple of the things in there. But when it comes to your mediumship, do your thing, do your style, because that's what your mediumship's about. And you know what it is? That's all the spirit world's asking of folk. to be you. They want you to be you, and so many of you don't want to be you. You want to be like the others, and you didn't. You want to be like you. You didn't want to be a sheep. You want to be a leader. You know what I mean? You want to be the cock in with all the hens. You have all the hens following you. You know what I mean? That's how you want it. But you always want to be, if you're teaching, to make sure that you're developing everybody uniquely. Not on the masses, not because that works for just about everybody, because as much as it'll work for most, it won't work for everybody. And you have to be mindful of that when you're a teacher. You have to be ready to adapt and change and alter in order to be able to keep moving forward, because not one style fits everybody. And this is that's what I love about my mediumship, and I love the way I train. It's spirit based. I train them the way that you want them to train. Not the way I want to train you, the way your people want to train you. And anybody who's done my workshops will know that. How are you? I'm all right, thanks, Sharon. Marie Potton saying that was absolutely favourite thing about working with the spirit. What is my absolute thing of working about the spirit world? No days are the same. Constantly, something's always different, no matter what I do. Whether it be training, whether it be demonstrating, whether it be sitting, no 2 days are the same for me. None whatsoever. I constantly do something different every day. Whether I'm doing YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be, every day is different. I speak to multifaceted people every day, and I get to meet loads of new people as well, which I love. And I love to travel, which again, I love new places. I love new people. I mean, I'm going to India at the end of the year, backpacking, me and the band. I can't wait. Honestly, God, that's my kind of holiday, that, backpacking. Like seeing what the world's got to offer me. You know what I mean? Australia, when I go to Australia next year, again, it's not rough and ready, but it's very minimalistic. I'm not a big showy kind of girl, do you know what I mean? I like very simple things with very simple pleasures, you know. I didn't really deal or a bling, you know, unless I'm working or demonstrating. I wear very little makeup unless I'm demonstrating, because I'm really like very natural, simple things. I like natural, simple foods. You know, I like home comforts, you know, but I love to travel. But I do it on a budget. I can take cracking holidays on a budget. Cracking. I love a bargain. I love it. You mean I wear clothes that are, you mean I've got this dress, this tracksuit here, you know what I mean, branded name. And I mean, it's a proper one out the sports shop. I got for 35 quid. Retailing at 125. And I got for 35 because I'm good and I can find bargains like that. So, and I'm like that, you know what I mean? Not that I'm into designing labels, but I just knew it was a good label, and I knew the price was good, so I thought, right, I love that. You know what I mean? I like things that, like, I can get on, like, a budget and stuff. I love it. And I love to, like, be creative. I love to take things with the spirit world and make them into something, like build on them. I love to destroy things and then pull it apart and see how it works, and then put it back together, but see if I can put it back together in a different way to see how that'll work. People think that that's a bit nutty in me, but it's not. It's just my mind's a bit twisted like that. I just like to demolish things to see how they can be rebuilt, but in a different way. I love puzzles, and I love like not word puzzles, but like, you know, like that block game where you put blocks in, or I like it where you've got to put them cubes and you've got to sort of turn them round until I get them, you know, like them, like puzzles, like them types of things where you have to, like, jigsaws. I love jigsaws. I love to put jigsaws together, put the puzzles together. I love out like that. I love it. And that's that's what the spirit world gives me, an opportunity to try multifaceted different things in many different ways and talk to many different communicators and meet many different new people here to the earth. I love it. I really do love it. Sunshine, I know I can become a medium now, but won't give them permission yet. But you're always in control there, Sunshine. Danielle, did you know who's my spirit guide in the family? I can never tell you who a spirit guide is, and it'd be wrong of me to do so. Ultimately, because, like I said on Facebook, but I'll say it again on here, ultimately, my perception of your spirit guide will ultimately be different to your perception of your spirit guide. So I always actually encourage people to get involved in their own spirituality and find their own people, because that is your team and that's your job. It's never my job. It's always your job to find your spirit team, because they're your people who are going to work with you. So I refuse point blank to tell anybody who their guides are, and I really frown upon it in the industry, and as well, I don't like that. That's something I don't like, when mediums are telling other mediums or the general public who their guides are, because your interpretation is far different to their interpretation, and you could be leading anybody up the garden path, and they could be hunting around for anybody who may or may not be there. So I just don't get into that, like, unfortunately. But thanks for your question all the same, Sharon. I like that, the term light being. Light being, yeah. They are light of the light. They're like little, like sometimes when I see them, and they're like little white, very bright men, like glow. They're like glow. That's mint. That I like that. And I see them like with hazes around them, and I mean, I've seen them in all shapes and sizes. The spirit world, from people, the energy to, multifaceted different things. I've seen them where energy's just moving, vibrating. I've seen them where they're like white shadows, dark shadows, multicolored shadows. I've seen them as fully fledged people, whatever it may be. It depends on where my clairvoyance is that day, how my clairvoyance is working, etc., etc., etc. Cheryl saying, can you suggest any books to read on the spiritual glossary, or is best anything to get kids? My book, Cheryl, Freestyling Mediumship. I'm not going to promote somebody else's book when I've got my but no, another two I would highly recommend is Gordon Higgins's On the Side of Angels, and also Red Cloud's book. There would be two of the books that I would recommend, including my own there. They're two that I found. Helen Duncan's was another one, and Estelle Roberts' was also the other one that I read as well. I've read White Eagles. It wasn't for me. It wasn't, a lot of people rave about White Eagle and like his stuff. Me personally, it wasn't for me. I like Red Clouds. I found his stuff more down to earth, I've got to be honest with you. Gordon Higgins is, which is, hold up a minute. Let's have a look. I've got a couple actually. I think I've got another one. Got a couple downstairs, I think, but that one there, which is Gordon Higgins, is On the Side of Angels, which I love. And this book is really hard to get a hold of. It's quite expensive. I actually pinched this off Edith Parachute Siam's president, and she keeps asking for me back, and I refuse to give her back. I'll tell her she's lost it. I think there'll be another fight on over that book. This is not a bad one. I've read this one as well, which is Life in the Unseen World. This is a good one as well, done by Anthony Boganet, and which is a Swedish fella, which is really, really good. And then there's The Great Father Spirit, which is also an excellent book, which is a pathway of energy sources from the Native American wisdom. That's got quite a bit of philosophy, so check that out. But also my own book as well. And some of them I've got on Kindle, Helen Duncan's, and that I couldn't get them in paper, so I had to go to Kindle opportunities. Then would be some of the books I would recommend for you there, Cheryl. But my own, which is Freestyling Mediumship, The Natural Medium, Danielle, Happy Medium, which is available via Amazon. Yes, we should support one another. We tend to split apart because of power. I would agree, Sunshine. Exactly. We all have issues. We certainly do. Danielle, did you find that you realized that going your way was the best for you to go forward? Yeah, definitely. I always find that doing mediumship my way. I tried to implement somebody else's, not somebody else's mediumship, but somebody else's techniques last year. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't for me. It just didn't work for me at all. I had to take it out. Unfortunately, it just wasn't for me. And since I've took it out, I've got to be honest, I'm not happier. My mediumship's more my own. It's become my own again, and it's gone back to the way my mediumship was. Trying to implement other people's dynamics, other people's techniques, just wasn't for me. And I learned there in that moment very, very hardly that you must stay with your own mediumship. It's important you stay with your own mediumship. So my advice to you and anybody else, since I've been doing that road, stick with your own. Don't add other people's stuff in, because it just doesn't work. And eventually you'll have a conflict, and you'll not know what's yours and what's not yours, and what's theirs and what's not yours. And the best thing to do is stick with your own and work with what you've got, and listen to your team, because they ultimately know exactly where you need to be. Again, last year I come away from my team, thought somebody else was better, thought that they knew more. When it all come to all, they didn't. My team actually knew more, but I had to go through that experience in order to understand it. So that would be my advice to yourself there, Angela. After all, we're all human beings. We certainly are. Claire Louise Richard, hi Danielle. Why does the spirit world show me things when I can't do anything about it to help or change? And what they are showing me? Is it just showing me that I'm seeing the right validations? All I can say to you there, Claire Elizabeth, is ultimately you are always in control of your mediumship. And what we have here is a person who is not underdeveloped, but has lack of discipline. So what's happening is the spirit world, you are clicked in, your conscious mind is constantly in the spirit world. Now, when we're clicked into the spirit world, or when our consciousness is in the spirit world will automatically think that you're able to work, or you're ready to work, or you are, open and ready to receive and take communication. What we need to do, Claire, is get you clicked back over onto the walking world and know the difference between when you're moving your consciousness and when you're not. Because at the moment, you're just moving it without you even knowing it. And then what's happening is they're giving you stuff, but there's nothing you can do about it, or you can give it to somebody. And ultimately, what the spirit world will always do is bring their loved ones or the people who are closest to them in the spirit world, because you're capable of being able to get close to them people in some capacity. That's the intelligence of the spirit world. They'll never give you stuff to show you validations or seeing it right, because ultimately everything that the spirit world shows you is always accurate, true, and right. It's whether or not we're having too much, what I call dilution, or too much of the conscious mind interfering. But from what it sounds like to me there, it sounds like you're too much in the spirit world and not enough on the earth world. But we are going to have a look at that, and I am going to take a look at your mediumship and see where I can take you. Everybody's agreeing with me, so fantastic. It has to be an energy exchange. I'd agree, Angela, definitely. We are eating our own way, and people got to stay away from judgment. I would agree, Sunshine. I definitely would agree with Sunshine. So everybody's liking Sunshine. It's nice to see you, Sunshine. Well, here's a look at someone else. Good to see this is so much better than watching TV. Well, I didn't really like TV. I got to be honest with you. It's just a loud tush. The only thing I watch, bang into it. I am bang into it. Amazon Prime. Wait, I've got a Fire Stick, you know. I love it. And they brought out Queen of the South, right? That I didn't get. The band got me into it, right? She said, "Hey, Mummy, you'll have to watch this documentary, this like sort of series." I was like, "Right, fair enough." I'll have it. Well, how I was hooked, and it takes a lot to hook me on anything like that. So they brought the new series out last week, right? Well, I'm not joking. I was camped downstairs on that set for about 8 hours doing a marathon, eating biscuits, drinking tea, and smoking my heat off, watching back to back series of Queen of the South. It is on Amazon Prime, the Fire Stick. Check it out. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But normal telly, got no interest in it. No interest in all. But that Queen of the South is something else. Like, honest to God, if you get an opportunity to watch it. It's fantastic. I love it. Always be yourself. Definitely be yourself. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Enjoy meditating, Danielle. Well, I have the meditation group there. Sharon, I don't know if you're in it, but if you're not, certainly do get involved in it. Yes, definitely worth the read. Can you get on Amazon? Yes, some of them you can get on Amazon. Yes, you certainly can. Meditation gives you answers. Yeah, a lot of people do. Hi to Maya as well, who's just joining us there. There's a lot of people who certainly enjoy meditation. It's very good for taking us out of the alpha state, which is the overthinking state, bringing us down into a more normal state there, which is what we're looking for. We're looking for us to be able to drop down into sort of delta, theta, sort of them sort of stages where we allow the spirit world to blend with our mind just that little bit more, or allow that conscious mind to slow down so that the spirit world can just move with our mind that little bit. Because when our mind's overworking or over, you're spot on, Danielle. Thank you very much, my darling. When our mind is overthinking or working extremely fast, what can tend to happen is that the conscious mind is overrunning, and the spirit world's quite delicate and quite quiet. They have a bit of a hard time sort of getting their answers or their sort of stuff over to us. So meditation is not only good for that, but also good for just sort of, it's good for you. Do you know what I mean? It's good for you getting yourself into a good place, an opportunity to hear yourself that little bit more, an opportunity to sort of reconnect with your inner soul or in a child or in a person, which is just as important is meditating for the spirit world. Remember, when you meditate and what you're doing the meditation for, where's your intention? Is it to go to the spirit world, or is it just to go to, is it just to do for yourself? Remember, when you're doing the meditation, are you doing it for you, or are you doing it to connect the spirit world? As long as your intention's in there is no issue or problem. Like, I've got to be honest, sitting in the power is an excellent one, one that isn't used enough as far as I'm concerned. I train all my students on sitting in the power. Meditation, sorry, but it's an opportunity for the conscious mind to run rampant. If you can get into the habit of sitting in the power, you've got more control over your energy, and you've also got more control over your mind as well, because what you're doing is completely shutting the mind off thinking. See, with meditation, you're sort of thinking, the conscious mind sort of involved in it, where when you do sitting in the power, you are completely shutting the whole lot off. You aren't thinking about anything. The minute the thoughts come in, you come away from your mind's meant to be with the breath all the time. You're not supposed to be thinking. You're looking for what I call bliss. It's where you have become at one with your own energy or the energy of the spirit world. And that there, my friends, takes a lot of practice, self-discipline, an opportunity to be in control of yourself and of your mediumship. So for Cheryl, who was asking me this question, Claire Elizabeth might also be beneficial for you. Also for them who have very overactive minds like Sharon and Debbie, this would be an excellent exercise for you lot to be able to get more discipline and more opportunity to work with your mediumship in a more, not controlled manner. You never want to control it. When I say control, it's learning to be in the spirit world when you're in the spirit world, and on the earth world when you're on the earth world, so that you have some kind of work-life balance. And for a lot of years, I didn't have any work-life balance, and that's not good for you. It's not good at all. You know, I mean, I have more of a work-life balance, and come next year, I'll even have an even bigger work-life balance, because I'm striving for that massively, because I've been working so diligently for the last 3-4 years. I'm tired, do you know what I mean? And because of my health, as you know, I'm not very well. So it's really, really important. Sitting in the power will give you that. Thank you, Danielle. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how to switch off. Sitting in the power. So here's a technique. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. Right. I just pop my mind when I meditate. Well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. That's your spirit world. Maybe it's just sort of coming. Ready. Right. So when you're sitting in the power, you want to be where there's no noise. Right? Everybody's ready. What you have to do is you have to take your mind, so take the 3 deep breaths like we do for the meditation, right? And all you want to do is sort of clear that mind. And then what you do is you take the mind to the breath, the here, to the chest, right? And you want to be watching the breath. So you're breathing in, breathing out, but you're not meant to be thinking out. And if you're thinking anything, then that means that you took your mind from the breath. And by doing this, sometimes you might have it on deep for 3 or 4 minutes because it can be tough. But as you do more and more of it, right, and you start to discipline the thought pattern within your mind, slows the thought pattern down, the conscious mind, also allows you, and then use it to first, like bringing the spirit world in as well. But first, I'd like to use it for yourselves, and then we can use it for the spirit world. What you do is you slow the conscious mind down enough so that the spirit world can get in when they need to. But you can also allow your soul to come in. And what happens is as you, what's your book called, please? Freestyling Mediumship, the Natural Medium. By putting your mind to the breath, what happens is you then become aware of your energy through the breath. And then what happens is you can then align your energy with your actual physical body, right? Because they're all in one, really. And you can get like this, like what we call euphoria. And I get this. I love euphoria. I love it, right? Euphoria is where it just becomes like it's vibrating, but it's not like vibrating. It's as if it's just like my energy's just like, I don't know. It's like bliss. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like everything's just like gone into like one. Like my mind is completely aligned with like my soul. Do you understand that? And it becomes like bliss, like nothing. And that's what sitting in the power does. Gives you nothing. And then what I do is I can then also alter it, and I then use it to go to the spirit world, and I sit in the spirit world's energy, and I become like one, my energy, because I'm already with the spirit world, because I am energy. I be like join into that energy, and I become like part of like that energy, and it becomes like this like sort of bliss, like of like oneness, like wholeness, like nothing. It's not nothing as in you don't feel anything, you feel everything, but it's like nothing, like there's nothing in my mind, like my mind's thinking about nothing, only the sensation that is bliss. And that's what sitting in the power will get you. And then sometimes if I don't want to completely go to bliss, I can just say get there, and then I get Chief to come in, and me and Chief will sit and talk in that like altered state. And I can also adjust my transfer it now. So my trance starts to, I can look for them altered states. I feel them altered states as I'm moving through them. Kind of nifty stuff like. But that took me months and months of practice. That with Chief, that hasn't just happened overnight. I've been working on that for a little while, and that's how I understand altered states. Even though I see them, I also understand them through the feeling of the vibration of moving through them with Chief. Kind of good, like. Kind of good. I like it a lot. Yeah, and that it is good if you can learn, and it's also learning to discipline your mind, so it like gets your mind into like a good place and stuff. So like, and then like you can like tune it and that, so like you can like move the energy around and that. It's kind of nifty, like. But that took me months of that, months and months and months of like trying to get that into a good place. You know what I mean? And and I didn't get that at first. It took me ages, and even now I've got to also be in my mind's got to be. It is really hard, but it's worthwhile if you're dedicated. You see, I'm dedicated. You know what I mean? I'm quite. I say this all the time to people. I say it all the time. People say my mouth going, you know, and they think, her mouth's going, you know. She's a big mouth. She's a big mouth. She's always talking. But I've got the resilience and the patience to outrun anything and anybody given time. I just sit back. People think I'm a dean now. They think I'm just sort of, you know, but I'm constantly. I think people have to choose to dedicate the time. That's right. I dedicate. So you don't speak to the spirit world when you're in the power. No, not unless I invite Chief in, and Chief will not bother me unless I invite him in. Because sometimes I sit for the spirit world, and sometimes I sit for myself. There's a difference. You gotta learn which one you're sitting for, and sometimes I need to sit for myself. But yeah, I'm dedicated, mate, like proper dedicated to the spirit world. I am. There's nothing comes close, nothing. My kids, I love my kids, but even they get pushed to the side for spiritualism. I love spiritualism. I have this absolutely euphoria for it. That I just love to learn and grow and evolve up there. And I do that. He teaches me all day long. He would teach me all day long, fella. And he's constantly like tweaking my mind. But it depends on how much I fight him. Sometimes I fight him because I don't really like change. I do like change, but some of the change I don't like because sometimes it's too much, it's too quick, and my mind hasn't quite caught on enough, or I haven't quite developed that mind enough, so I've had to slow some stuff down in order to get it where I want it. And that's all just through sitting, giving my time. I don't have to pay for it, and I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't got a day out, but you've got to be disciplined with that, and a lot of people don't want to do that at home. Do you know what I mean? Not everybody's as dedicated as me, not everybody's as disciplined as me. Do you know what I mean? I am. I never used to be like that, but I've become more and more disciplined as I've moved further and further along the path. Again, through self-development. It doesn't happen overnight. Doesn't that what I'm talking about there took me about 8 months, since about October. What are we in, June? Aye. And prior to that, I was already like working and looking at physical mediumship before that. So it was only because I wanted to trade trance, I needed to understand more about it. I won't train nothing unless I understand it. I won't do. I would never train another human, and I would never go anywhere near something if I didn't understand the facets and I understood the exchange of energy, and I understood how it worked. Because not that I don't not trust the spirit world, because I do. I like to be aware of everything and anything I can possibly be aware of in every capacity. I will never have everything covered, but I have to have most of the stuff covered. Then, you know, I was fighting a good battle there. When I'm meditating, I always say a door. Do you know why, please? Right. Me personally, Claire Louise, I'm not a great lover of doors. I've seen doors in the spirit world. I've had a lot to do with doors. I've seen a lot of hassle going on with doors. Me personally, if it was me, I'd be telling the spirit world to move it on and don't bring anything like that back. Move it on. That would be my answer to that. It probably doesn't even belong to you. It probably belongs to somebody else, or it's just been left behind, or whatever it may be. So me personally, Claire, if I seen anything like that, it would be sent packing in a crack. I wouldn't even entertain anything like that. I've had some, I wouldn't say issues, but I would certainly say I've seen some interesting things connected to doors. I've got to be. What are doors? Doors are different types of doors: wooden doors, metal doors, flat doors, trap doors, these types of things. That, yeah, in the spiritual world, but it's how the mind perceives it. They're not actually there in the spirit world. It's how the mind perceives them. The doors could be an indication that there's some things that need to leave your life, or it could be that there's new opportunities opening up, or it could be that the doors are being used to move between different levels and different things, because other people may be using them particular things in every capacity. Not everybody does mediumship the way that I do it. Other people need other mechanics in there. It's okay, thank you. It's a closed back black door. Send it packing. That'll be my answer to that. Tell the spirit world, didn't build them up there. I'm not interested in having them up there. It's like a boundary. I have some boundaries in. And actually, one of my boundaries is that I'm on out to deal with doors. I'm not interested in doors being built on my boundaries. Don't bring doors forward. I don't work with doors. And I've never seen a door since. And that I started seeing doors when I first started doing my mediumship prayer. When about maybe I was 6 months in, and I put a stop to that. It was red doors, green doors, black doors, flat doors, trap doors, you name it. And I just put a stop to the whole lot. I put everything back in them and sent the whole fucking lot back, the whole lot. And said, yeah, I'm none of that. The spirit world want to work with me, they'll work with my mind. That I don't need to see them. It'll either be something to do with yourself, or there'll be a connection to something that needs to be let go of in some capacity. That'd be my advice to that one. I hope you don't mind, we're going to have a cigarette. So, do you talk to them about your own health, Danielle? Sometimes. That's not scary. Don't think it's scary. Okay, great, thanks. It's not scary. It's just that some things need to be taken away, or some things are finished with and done with. It's nothing scary. Nothing can harm you in the spirit world. Don't get me wrong in that capacity. I don't want anybody to be panicked in that that way. All I say is that the preference, I prefer not to use doors. Some mediums use them as mechanics in order to connect to the spirit world. Some mediums use them in order to be able to get that link to the spirit world. Me personally, I don't need it. I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need that connection. I don't need that mechanic inside of my mind. So I just choose to take that mechanic out, and I work the way that I work, which is just completely linking with energy. Do I talk to them about my own health? Yeah. Chief scans offered all the time. All the time. Danielle, you're working yourself into the ground. Danielle. Yes, Chief. I hear you, Chief. Yes, Chief. And that's about the sum total of that conversation. He knows me quite well. He's been with me a long time. He knows that there's very little, the best thing Chief does is Chief gives me an idea and leaves it with me, and he'll say, get back to me on it. Because if he tries to push me for an answer there and then, he'll get nowhere fast. So he's learned that if he sort of just drops it in, leaves it there, I'll ponder on it, and then I'll go back to him if I need further information on it. I'll then go back and ask for more. He allows me to make that decision. That's his job. He's not there to make decisions for me. He's only there to give me ideas or give me maybe another way of doing things. That's it. He can't tell me what to do. He can only advise me, and I'll either take his advice or I'll choose not to take his advice, depending on how I feel. And that's there. And I'm quite stubborn, you probably wouldn't think it, but I'm actually kind of stubborn. And I'll always look for a different route all the time. And really, well, I should really just take the easy route, but I don't. I make things complicated for myself because I'm like that. Because I'm a weirdo. Just for the fun of it. Just because, I like it. Yeah, but he can't tell me, he can't diagnose me. He can't tell me what's wrong. I can go to him, like, for example, with the problems that I have, the medical problems I have, and I've said to him, like, what we're going to do here. And all he said is this thing's being put in plan. What you're playing at? Where is this Chief's advice? Anna. I should take more notice. I should. And I have started to take more notice from over the last couple of years. I must be honest with you, I have. But like when it comes to my health and that, he can't diagnose and he can't tell me. And I have asked him about what's going to happen with my health and where that's going to take my mediumship. And all I got was help will be available when the time is right. Which freaks me out a little bit. But he can't tell me. He can't tell me what the end goal will be. And in all honesty, I don't know myself what the end goal will be. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen yet. So I'll have to wait and see on that one. So I didn't drop Dundee tomorrow. I didn't think I am. Like, I think I've still got a bit more work to do for the spirit world, but yeah. I do trust him, but sometimes I like to take things differently. And sometimes me and Chief, we don't have a row over that. But sometimes Chief has to just buy his time, and then he eventually like gets in there. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes, other times, I take his advice and I'll do exactly as he says. You know what I mean? Other times I'll say, look, I'd rather try something else first, Chief. You know what I mean? And he'll be like, right, fair enough. We'll do it your way if that's the way you want to do it. He says, but eventually he says, we'll have to do it my way. And I'm like, well, we'll try it this way first anyway. And we'll just try. And he'll go, okay then. And that's it. He can't make me do anything I don't want to do. Does that make sense? He can't. We don't row. I hear people say that they row with their teams and all sorts. I never Chief didn't row. Mine, I've got to be honest, but didn't really row. I mean, I got in there shooting and screaming, and honestly, his face is a picture. Honestly, it is. He's like, what on earth are you doing? You know what I mean? Screaming and shooting on. And I go, And he's going, I can hear you, you know. And I'm like, can you? And you go, yes. And I'll go, he says, and the other one he normally says, there's no need to shout. And I'll go, sorry, Chief. I do. That's sorry, Chief. I do say no something. I do. A lot more now. When I first started out, I didn't. But now I do. Loads. But not always. But the majority of the time, yeah. Mm-hmm. It is funny. It is funny. It's like a fucking no need to shout. That's what he says. I love the impressions of Chief. He's a funny man. He honestly is a hoot. He is a hoot. I love him, man. He cracks me up all the time. He's like got such a smart mouth, and like, and I love you. You're so funny. He's right now. You want to say him on? You think I'm funny? You want to say him on? He's really funny. He's got a proper massive personality. He has. He's got a cracking. You know, even like. You know, I know the energy. I know that. You know what I mean? And who else is in the team? Does you chat to them? Probably. There's a couple of others. But I tend to keep them ones a secret. I talk about Chief. I'll talk about him all day long. But the others I sort of keep in the background. There's about another 2 up there. And there's another one who's just appeared who I'm really quite interested in. Looks like the Nutty Professor. But he's not. But he looks proper knowledgeable. I'm like, yeah, what can you teach me? That's how I look at him. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what can he teach me? And that's what I say, Chief, what's he going to teach us? And Chief will go, you'll have to wait and see. That's another thing he says all the time. I hear that now. His exact words are, I say to him about such and such and such and such. He'll go, you'll have to wait and see. And I'll go say, what we're waiting to see. He'll go, you'll have to wait and see. I'll go, but is it going to happen? You'll have to wait and see. Because you won't predict. Sometimes there's certain things he'll tell us about, other things that he'll not tell us about. It's straight from. But I know his energy and stuff, but sometimes when I get upset, and I do get upset, I think people think, because like I'm a medium and stuff, I don't like get upset, or I haven't got things going on the earth plane, or there's things that bother me and stuff like that, because there's a kind of bit going on behind the scenes, and like doing all of what I do, it's stressful, it is. I don't think people realize how stressful it is. Like, I have 6 staff who work for me, and then I have like obviously, 4 different platforms we run across, and I have quite a busy schedule and abroad work and stuff. It's really stressful. I'm trying to be a working mum, and I'm not just saying that, because like there's probably loads of other working mums out there. I'm not saying I'm any different to anybody else. But there's times like, and then there's other like sort of personal issues and stuff like that go on in the background and stuff. And then I do get upset from time to time. And I'll go into Chief, and like I'll be crying, and I'll go in, and I don't know whether they know or not. I think they do. I'm not sure, because sometimes he like say to us, like he'll ask, like, am I all right? And I'll go, I'm so upset, Chief. I'm crying and stuff. And he'll go, there's no need to get upset, Danielle. And I'll go, I know, but I'll like talk to him about like what's going on. I talk to him. There is nothing that I don't talk to him about. Nothing. He knows everything there is to know about me, and probably a bit more. In fact, he probably knows everything and everything else, and probably where I'm going and everything else. He knows about the people that comes in and out of my life. He knows about things that go on outside of my life that I probably don't even know about. There's nothing. He's sort of like my husband, but he's not my husband because he's just spiritual. But he's like my confidant. Like I can tell him anything, and I know for a fact it won't go any further. He won't discuss it with anybody else. He won't discuss, anything. I tell him everything. There's nothing I don't tell him. Nothing. Even down to like all sorts of stuff. It's weird, man. I'm gonna buy the book now. Well, I look forward to it. Abby's really well, actually, thank you. She's in a much better place. We had a really tough time with Abby at the beginning of the year, but she's really pulled herself together there, and she's madly in love. As you all know, young love. I have mother-daughter, as I don't know if many of you know, and I didn't mention this on Facebook. I am going to be a nana. I was due to be a nana last year, but unfortunately, our Chloe lost the baby, so we are expecting another one at the beginning of next year. So I'm very excited about all of that. So my family has grown. One daughter doesn't live at home, as most of you know now. And Abby is, like I say, very loved up. He's a nice boy. He is a nice boy. Yeah, congratulations, Nana. Definitely, it was lovely seeing you just last week. You were fabulous, lady. Well, thank you very much for that, Del. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming along to watch me work. I love Ipswich. I love this. You know what I mean? I love certain places in the south. I work some churches, not all of them. You know, please do share this video, or please do subscribe to the channel. You know, it's always a pleasure to be over here on YouTube. You know, now that I've got this new system up and running, I'll be over here a lot more. You know, I just haven't had time in the last couple of weeks with my health, and you know, one thing and another, and it's been really busy with work and stuff, and it's just trying to fit it all in sometimes, even with all of the stuff and stuff we have. Being a nan is the best thing. I'm really excited. I am really excited, actually. You know, obviously the moving that's coming in, as you all know, and you know, all that type of thing, and you know, we'll see where we go. You know, I mean, I've got a year. You know, Abby's still got another year to do with college and stuff. So, and you know, I mean, she's planning, she's going to be an engineer, and you know, my other daughter, she's a hairdresser. She's got around hairdressing business and that. So, you know, never does my bonnet. Like, I've got to pay for mine to do somewhere else. But I'm going to sign off for tonight. It's nearly 10:30. I'd love to stand and chat with you all night, as you's not. But thank you very much for all of you for your questions. Thank you very much for joining me. It's always a pleasure. If you're interested in the flexi plans or the training that I'm doing, please do sort of get in touch with the Facebook page. We'll certainly, oh my God, I love it. My grandson's 16 now. I'm really looking forward. To it. We'll have to, I mean, I love kids. I've got a great passion for children, and obviously the loss of my son and stuff like that. You know, the family continues to grow. I appreciate you all joining me. It's been an absolute blast. And hopefully, I see you all in the next couple of weeks. Matt has been talking to me about philosophy. Very interesting. Philosophy, we need better philosophers. We don't say enough good philosophy. And a lot of philosophy now is talked about the medium, nothing to do with the spirit world, which isn't really my cup of tea. Like, I like to hear what the spirit world's got to say. They're far more knowledgeable than us. But I'm going to love you and leave you. Mwah! Thank you very much. And I will see you all in a few days if I don't see you before. All right. I will see you all tomorrow. All right. Bye for now. Bye, everybody. Bye.